Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well. And today I want to say a huge thank you to anyone that was able to join us last night for our Oscars boycott. It was a lot of fun. The first ever Wednesday Raven Awards, which is excellent. I will be posting all of the winners on the community tab on the YouTube channel, and also I will be, of course, posting it onto Twitter as well, and you'll be able to see all the winners. I'm going to try at some point to cut together a reduced version of the live stream to have just the times that the winners were announced, etc., and hopefully get something to you guys in the future. But today we're going to be talking about a couple of things, and of course, it's mostly going to be about the Oscars and how the Oscars have shown themselves to still not get the picture, still not understand that if you go woke, you will indeed go broke. And in order for us to start off this conversation, we must, of course, get in our hourly update of the Rotten Tomatoes score for Captain Marvel. And just to keep this in mind, and just to remind everyone out there, this is not people making up reviews. These are people clicking one of two buttons, not interested or want to see. And what this says is that out of now 45,000 people, this is now more people than all the people who rated and saw Solo: A Star Wars Story. We have now surpassed that. This is amazing. Seriously, this is freaking hilarious. And now you have stars coming out of the woodwork trying to say, oh, you need to stop, guys. You need to stop. It's like, no, don't stop. This is freaking hilarious. And if this indeed does reflect the box office not being nearly as high, I will laugh even harder. But we'll have to wait to see if that's going to happen at all. But right now, 28% of that 45,000 actually want to go see Captain Marvel. And people might ask, why? Why is it the case? Why is everyone being so mean? They must be white racists and white sexist males. It's actually a wide variety of people from a wide variety of backgrounds, but, that would require you to just, open your eyes, let alone just do a little bit of research. But it really just overall plays into what the current state of Hollywood is, what the current state of our political culture is as well. And I think that is best exemplified by what happened at the Oscars last night. First, let's start off with some good news. Let's say maybe the Oscars did something right. Well, apparently the ratings indeed went up. Yes, if you decide to go hostless, it is better. People would rather watch a show with no host than have to sit through an entire night of Jimmy Kimmel. If this isn't the biggest middle finger to Jimmy Kimmel, I don't know what the hell else is. But this makes me so happy. If you don't realize this, last year was one of the lowest rated Oscars in history. Seriously, they were just hitting the bottom of the barrel, which to me says you can only go up. And originally they were going to go with Kevin Hart with the host, and I think that would have been a great thing. I think honestly the ratings would have been even higher if Kevin Hart had been the host. But he decided to they decided to go after him. They decided to attack him and call him a homophobe and do all those other things and force him to step down. And you know what? Hey, it's better for his career overall, because guess what? He was in a movie called The Upside that did so much better than I think anyone would have expected to do, because they were going out to support him after all of this nonsense. But indeed, the Oscar ratings were up, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing, because at the end of the day, I think that it shows us shows Hollywood, we don't need you to have a person on stage pontificating to us what we need to believe. So at least it's a start. Is it everything that we need to have right now? Is it everything that needs to happen in order for Hollywood to get the picture? Hell no. And we can see that just by the fact that they have so many reactions to so many different things throughout the night, and of course to the Best Picture winner. That Best Picture winner. But before we get to that, let's talk about politics. That's right. Identity politics was very much in full fashion for this for this Oscars, and these are 6 of the most memorable political Oscar moments. So keep in mind, these are not all of them. These are just the most memorable ones, because there were plenty of jabs throughout. So there was a pro-immigration push. This really wasn't a pro-immigration push in my opinion. If anyone doesn't know, Rami Malek won for portraying Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody, and I think that his speech was quite touching. His big thing was, we made a film about a gay man, an immigrant who lived his life just unapologetically himself. I am the son of immigrants from Egypt. I'm a first-generation American. Part of my story is being written right now, and I could not be more grateful to each and every one of you. Like, to me, that's not really a big immigration push. I think that's just him identifying as a first-generation Egyptian immigrant, and I think that is nothing wrong. Notice how he didn't say anything really political there. One could easily say, well, isn't that still identity politics? Well, yeah, because obviously he's saying, this is what I am, and this is what I use to define who I am. However, this is definitely not the most egregious form of identity politics that we have seen so far. I'm actually really glad that he won here, but even him saying this, he still got attacked by the left. He got attacked by the left because he said that Freddie Mercury, and I quote, was a gay man. People are freaking out because he says gay man here because apparently we can't just call gay people gay anymore because people may not realize this, but Freddie Mercury had relationships with women too. In fact, there was one woman in the entire film that it is shown, and apparently it was big in his life, whom he had a very profound relationship with, not just sexual, but emotional as well, which is something that I actually didn't know because I just thought that he was gay. I didn't know that he was, bisexual, or at least, partially bisexual, or whatever it is you're going to call it. But people are freaking out because he said the term gay man. They're calling him ignorant. They're saying that he is, seriously, they're going after him for it. That's so stupid. That's so stupid. But please continue to each your own. Because believe me, Rami Malek, even though he didn't go off on any crazy political tangents, guarantee that he's probably on your side of the aisle. He's probably on your side politically, and you're going after him because he described Freddie Mercury as a gay man, which, if you were to ask anybody, hey, do you happen to know the sexual orientation of Freddie Mercury? 99% of them would say, oh yeah, he was gay. And guess what? No one cares. No one gives a damn because guess what he did? He made great music. He was an excellent musician. And also at the end of the day, he died way too young because of a lot of his actions in his life. But here's where we get into a few more, just a couple specifically identity politics narratives. We have Representative John Lewis. That's right. They had a Democratic representative at the Oscars. If you did not need any clearer connection to the fact that Hollywood and the liberals in Washington are in bed with each other. It's not enough that you had the first lady a few years ago, Michelle Obama, announce Best Picture. Oh yeah, let's not forget about that nonsense. But now you also have an actual sitting Democratic senator coming in to talk about and introduce a film. What he has to do with the film, I don't know. Oh, well, he lived during that time that the movie took place, and so that's why he's introducing it. Okay, so why don't you get like a normal person? Why did you have to get a politician? Why did you have to get a big, huge, a huge person, a huge name in the Democratic House Committee? Like, my gosh, it's just ridiculous to me. But of course, he says, I can bear witness that the portrait of that time and place in history is very real. It is seared into my memory. Our nation bears the scars of that time as I do. And basically what he's trying to point out there, and apparently got a standing ovation, because what the whole point of him being brought to this moment and talking about Green Book specifically was to try and make the point that, oh, I lived through that and we still have that going on today. There are people out there that want to try and spin the truth that we're somehow living in the 1960s, that we're somehow living in that time period still to this day. If you think that America today is anything like the 1960s, you are an idiot. If you honestly think that it's even close to what it was in the 1960s for people of color and for various other peoples, I'm sorry, but you are a complete imbecile at this point. Green Book, however, did go home to win Best Picture, which caused a whole other stir, which I can't wait to talk about. And of course, we get to ourselves with Spike Lee. So Spike Lee, before we talk about what he did when Green Book won, let's talk about a couple of things that he did. So this guy right here, not only did he go off on this really weird tangent speech, but also what's funny to me is that they acted like he was the one that won everything, even though he co-wrote this script with like 4 other people. So good job, Spike, I guess. And he says, before the world tonight, I give praise to our ancestors who helped build this country. The 2020 presidential election is around the corner. Let's all mobilize. Let's all be on the right side of history. Make the moral choice between love versus hate. Let's do the right thing. And got a standing ovation from every single person there. Yes, as I've said before, if you want to see clear connections between Hollywood elites and the Democratic Party of the United States, look no further than the Oscars, where not only will you hear the same Democratic talking points referred to over and over again, but you will have an actual member of Congress, an actual Democratic member of Congress presenting a film, and then Spike Lee saying, go out and vote on the right side of history. I'm sorry, but the fact that you're trying to equate any person that votes for Donald Trump, of which I'm actually not, I voted for McMullen. because I thought that everyone on the ticket sucked. You know, I have my problems with, you know, with Donald Trump. I have my problems with many. In fact, you know, I have a problem with every single person so far on the Democratic ticket, but that is, of course, for another day and for another video. But for you to go on stage and try and paint this brush that, oh my gosh, everyone in America, and this was also, by the way, the message of his film. BlacKkKlansman started off being a great film, and then the last 5 minutes tried to paint the picture that Donald Trump is the reason for so-called racism today that is equal to the racism in his movie of the 1960s. Seriously, this is the world they're living in. This is the bubble that they're living in. They think that everything is the exact same. They think that nothing has changed, that there was no civil rights movement, that somehow there is still segregation. What's interesting, though, is the only segregation that actually exists is in Hollywood. The only segregation that actually exists is actually within these communities when they, by their own choice, segregate and separate themselves from others. Why? Because of black power, because of black identity, because that is how they identify themselves. When in reality, all they're doing is they're separating themselves from everyone else around them. It's interesting how segregation used to be seen as something really bad, and yet now you see many people segregating themselves in the process. And then on top of that, you're now also trying to see the attempt to politicize all of this, because what he also does is he's trying to say that Trump is the reason why all of this is happening. Which is just ridiculous because, one, this so-called white supremacist KKK movement that used to be very prominent in the 1960s isn't really a thing anymore. Are there still people out there? Yes, absolutely. But if you're going to try and tell me that it is as bad as the 1960s or as bad as the 1900s or as bad as the 1800s or as bad as, you know, God, just keep on going back in time, wake the hell up. Seriously, stop identifying yourself by one tiny piece of the puzzle that makes up who you are and join the rest of the world. Engage with society, engage with the culture. Stop shutting yourself off, because when you shut yourself off from everybody, not only culturally, but also politically and philosophically, you're going to isolate yourself and you're going to fall into this fantasy realm where you think everything is bad, everything is wrong, everything is evil, and that is just not how things work. And this guy, Spike Lee, is so off the walls, is so crazy that when Green Book won at the Oscars, you had freaking Spike Lee getting up out of his seat in anger, going to the back, turning around, causing a scene causing a scene in the aisles while they're going up to accept their Oscars, by the way, and apparently got into a very heated discussion with somebody else. I think Jordan Peele was the one that they mentioned. And then apparently when he got back to his seat, he decided to turn his back on their speech. All because of supposed racism of the movie. This is the guy that we're dealing with right now. This is Hollywood culture. Seriously, it is because of this that we are getting freaking things like this. Green Book is the worst best picture since Crash. Have you seen Crash? Crash is awful. Crash is a bad movie. You know what? You know what's not a bad movie? Green Book. Green Book is the only movie that you asshats nominated this year that I had any interest in buying on Blu-ray. It was my third favorite film of 2018 because it was freaking hilarious. It was well written, it was well acted, and it was everything that a movie should be. It was a movie that could have gone down that identity politics driven narrative, but you know what? It didn't do that. Instead, it just told a story about two friends and how both of them learn from each other. That it's not just the intelligent black man who has to teach the really dumb white man something, but rather both are able to share a bit of themselves with each other, become friends, and also change each other in the process, and change each other for the better, for that matter. It truly is just amazing to me, though, that they're going after this film. The fact that you have CNN coming out to say that Green Book Oscar win is so our country right now. You're a writer for CNN. You're supposedly a news organization, and your title is "The win is so our country right now." Oh my gosh, that Green Book Oscar win is so our country right now. Do you even hear yourself? You sound like AOC. Do you only have a 4th grade education? Honestly, because I think AOC only does by the way that she speaks. So global warming is like really hard and it's like so difficult and we're gonna die in like 12 years. Like seriously, oh my gosh, Green Book, it's so our country right now. And here's the problem. And the very beginning of this, I'm almost done, guys. Sorry. This very beginning tells you all that you need to know about why they are hating this movie, why Hollywood, why the left, why every person that is of the identity politics driven narrative is hating this movie. Green Book refers to the guidebook African Americans used to avoid segregation while traveling during and before the Civil Rights era. That's actually a true statement. The movie of the same name has a scene with a white man teaching a black man how to eat fried chicken while the white character drives him through the 60s South. And it won the Oscar for Best Picture on Sunday night. If that ain't America, nothing is. Just like the nation remains split over issues of ethnicity and identity, the film has caused a divide between those who see it as a celebrating friendship and those who see it as racist. Green Book chronicles the real-life friendship between piano virtuoso Dr. Donald Shirley and played by Best Supporting Actor Oscar winner Mahershala Ali, and Tony Valonga, played by Viggo Mortensen, who served as his driver. The film has faced criticism by some for seeking to reinforce the white savior trope used by Hollywood time and again in films to do with race. Here is the biggest problem with that. They both save each other. Not one looks better than the other at the end of the day. They both save each other. They both build each other. This film is nothing else but a story of friendship. If you only see a white savior mentality, it is because you are an idiot. It is because you are blinded by your own political narrative that you have to hate it. It's the same reason why they went after Bohemian Rhapsody, because, oh my gosh, he's not really a gay man. He's not really a gay icon. I mean, he has a relationship with a woman. Oh gosh, he can't be truly representative of the gay community. And they went after that film because they didn't focus solely on his identity as being gay. And apparently just saying he was gay is now offensive. They decided, to go after and support films like Roma, which is one of the most boring films of all time, or Black Panther, which had no business being at the Oscars. The fact that Black Panther now, to its credit, has multiple Oscars, but Infinity War, 0 Oscars. Aquaman didn't even get nominated for visual effects. Plenty of other Mission Impossible Fallout, 0. Unless you're going to count like the really small ones that they kind of do beforehand, with, stunt teams and things like that. But, we don't care about that. This is the state of the Oscars. This is the state of entertainment. This is the state of the movie industry right now, where the point and the fact that you have a movie about a white man driving a black man who is more intelligent than he is, the black man being more intelligent than he is during the 1960s, that the person essentially having a driving Miss Daisy is the comparison being given here. The fact that you have a reverse driving Miss Daisy, and yet even then, that is not enough. Even then, that is not enough, because if you are not completely woke and on the woke train, then they don't want to have anything to do with you. They would have much rather had a Roma win and be all about the border and fighting Trump and fighting racism, or a Black Klansman, oh yeah, because Donald Trump is the only reason why racism exists, even though it really doesn't exist in the same numbers as it did before, but we're going to keep on pretending that it does, because if we don't, then we lose our position in society, and then, what are we leading if there's nothing to lead? And oh my gosh, that's right, I have nothing to lead anymore, because the biggest problems are really past us, and if we just learn to try and move on with life and try to actually embrace culture and try to actually embrace the world around us, oh my gosh, we could actually find a lot of happiness. But no, they would rather stay in these bubbles, these intellectual, cultural bubbles. And if they continue to do this, and if they especially continue to try and push this nonsense and push this narrative into their films, let Captain Marvel be a great example of this. Because this isn't just white people. This isn't just white men driving this score down. These are general audience members saying, I don't want to see this. I have no interest in being preached to. I have no interest in an actress who is going to use her position to preach to me about what is morally good and what is not morally good, when what she is talking about has nothing to do with morality itself. This is going to be the state of this culture. This is going to be the state of Hollywood. Hollywood is going to continue to, you might have seen the Oscars have an increase in their ratings. But just remember, you are talking about a raise in viewership between a year where there was a woke as F host and no host at all. And if you honestly think that you came away at the end of the night looking great for going after, and at the same time, look at the footage for yourself. They almost essentially some of them were actually booing Green Book, which arguably speaking is one of the best movies of 2018. And if you have not done so, do yourself a favor and watch it. You will laugh your ass off, because it is not PC. It is not play by the rules. It tells an actual real-life story, and it tells that story by using their friendship as the canvas. And what they're able to paint with that story, what they're able to paint with that friendship is freaking awesome. And anyone that calls it racist, anyone that calls it anything else other than beautiful is an asshat. Have a wonderful day, guys. Seriously, what do y'all thought of the Oscars? Did you watch the Oscars last night? Did you watch the Wednesday Raven Awards? Let me know what your favorite winners were for the Wednesday Raven Awards in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, smash that like button, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. You're all amazing and beautiful people. But seriously, guys, this is indeed what Hollywood is. Hollywood has not got the message. So now more than ever, we need to show Hollywood that if you try to get all of this nonsense involved in the shows, we're not going to watch them. If you try and get all of these things involved in the movies, we're not going to watch them. And right now, the best example that we have is Captain Marvel. So if you're still thinking about going to see it opening night, opening weekend, I would just ask you to think for a second. Is this a movie that you really want to support? Or maybe, just maybe, would you like to be a part of a pretty cool movement fighting against this total political asshattery? I would love for you to join. Have a wonderful day, guys, and as always, God bless, and seriously, go see Green Book. It's awesome. Screw you, CNN.